Go!
All right, welcome in, guys. Welcome to the episode 3 of Three Men on the Record. So we're back. Took a week off. We have a special guest panelist today, Stacey from Best Coast Music. We brought her in for a very special uh, presentation of the 500, and you might have an idea of what it might be, knowing her reputation. Um, and so Stacey sells on Whatnot with us, and Stacey, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Stacey. For those that don't know, I live on the West Coast in Oregon. I run Best Coast Music with Danny, who lives on the East Coast in Jersey. We're both huge Swifties, if you can't tell. Yeah, we do shows every other Sunday on YouTube, or not on YouTube, on Whatnot at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And then this Saturday, we'll be having a real special show, 12:30 p.m. East or Pacific, 3:30 Eastern. So tune in if you like Taylor.
Well, welcome, Stacey. It's great to have you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Stacey.
So, what have you guys been up to for our week off? Anything exciting?
I went to a wedding.
And he came back with COVID.
Yeah. Price you got to pay, I guess.
And Jake went to a science fair.
Yeah.
All right.
And
I
the
didn't do anything.
fiscal year ended. So we are now into 2026 for my job, even though it is still October 2025.
Well, that's not fun.
And it's going to be a repeat.
All right.
I listen to a lot of Taylor Swift.
So yeah, we've been. I haven't listened to Taylor Swift record yet. I know Gonzo hasn't. I know Scott and Stacey have. I know my wife's been listening to it. So if you've listened to it, tell us in the chat what you think. And we're also going to go over any new releases, anything you guys have gotten this week that you want to share with us. We'd kind of like to share some of the stuff we found.
Why don't you start, Scotty?
Okay. I don't want to preempt, so I'll hold one. Anyway, in Columbus, I did stop by a couple of record stores. One of them I really wanted to go to because during COVID lockdown, it was one of the name of it is Magnolia Thunder Pussy. And I really wanted to see this place because I bought a lot of great $5 records during COVID, back when you could get really good records for $5. So I dropped by and they were good. I did buy like 7 or 8 CDs from them, and I got this. Talking Heads US OG press. I didn't have this and picked it up. So that was my newest acquisition. And I got another one, but I'll hold that one.
Cool. I'm going to go next because this is something I've been hunting for forever. If you know that last week or 2 weeks ago, we talked about this record. I've been searching for it on Japanese vinyl with the Obi forever, and I found it. And it's a white label promo. Woo-hoo. So, and that is so hard to find with the Obi. And I'm also playing around with, I just picked this up. Apparently, this is the new thing with music doing EPs. Led Zeppelin, like live EP.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that's the new trend with someone said they're working on more of these. I know even not Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith is coming out with an EP coming out, I think, in November. You can already listen to one of the songs with Youngblood. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the name of the song. I have it written down. But that is coming out. So another EP with Aerosmith. You got anything new, Jake?
Do I have anything new? Phenomenal question there, Sean.
I've been waiting for that. Hey, that's what I'm here for.
I do actually. So I went out and actually acquired it today when I went out and about and did some shopping. I have a European original of this album, but I really wanted to give the new Rhino a try. And that is 1991, Roll the Bones by Rush. This was a pretty big album for me when I was 13 years old. I did buy it the year it came out. I think I had it. Did I have the cassette tape first? Might have been the CD. Maybe I conned my dad somehow into giving me cash to go get the CD. So there's sentimental value there. I've always loved the record. And it's, it's them basically returning more to their guitar roots and less synthesizers. So I'm very excited to put this on and hear the quality of this and, do a shootout with my 91 original.
Roll the Bones is a good record.
It is a very good record. Yeah.
No, Stacey, I'm sure that you've probably gotten like 4 different variants of Taylor this week.
75.
I've gotten them all. The FedEx guy has been here every single day. I thank him every day and tell him I'll see him tomorrow. Today was supposed to be the last day, but I, again, will see him tomorrow and next week sometime. So obviously what he brought me this week was The Life of a Showgirl. This is my favorite variant of it, which is the lipstick and lace variant. I won't go too much into detail about it because we all know it came out, but I will share just one more that is not Taylor, not, mainstream. I picked up the Juno OST on lime green wax.
Nice. I haven't seen it on the lime green. I think it was the orange, the one I had.
Yeah. It's very good.
Oh. Now, speaking of Rush, Rush has announced the tour. Was it 7 cities? I think. And it's 4 nights at each look. It's 4 nights, so that gives people a chance.
Yeah, I know originally when it came out, I saw the link. I reached out to Chris, aka Rush Records, and we both went online and registered. And I think on the 13th is when you can go in and reserve. So they've got a few nights now in Fort Worth, and I got to talk to the wife. I'd like her to come with because she was with me when we were at the 40th. So we got to see Neil during the 40th tour.
So it's a lottery to get the tickets?
I think so, yeah.
Because it's Los Angeles, Mexico City, Fort Worth, Texas, Chicago, New York, Toronto, and Cleveland. And most of them are doing 4 nights. Cleveland only gets 2. Scott, are you planning on going to see them?
I don't think my wife would allow it.
Well, I know your wife won't go with you.
No, probably not. But it is exciting that they're going out and playing their music again.
I'm pumped. Look, the 40th anniversary show was excellent, and Kelly was 3 months pregnant when we went, and she's not a Rush fan, and she enjoyed the show. It was a hell of a show.
So anyone in the chat, type if there's anything you've picked up, put it in the chat. We'll like to read and see what you've gotten this week. Because there's everyone got different things to like. I'd love to see what you guys picked up.
I did get this too.
Oh, and see, I haven't gotten mine yet.
But not for me. But we have it in the house.
I don't know what I'm waiting for. Here's an interesting. We got some famous birthdays going on this week too that we needed. I kind of like talking about birthdays. Did you guys know that John Lennon and Sean Yoko Lennon was born on the same day?
Today? No, did not know that.
I don't know why I never knew that. I knew when John Lennon was born, but I didn't know when Sean was born.
I should have known that.
Yeah.
Same year would have made it much more interesting.
Yeah. Jackson Brown's birthday.
Would have.
Also, John Entwistle of The Who. We were talking about it a little while ago. He was the bassist for The Who. He was considered one of the greatest rock and roll bassists of all time.
The Ox.
And I know Scott said something earlier was kind of cool about him.
He was a pretty cool dude. Very unique guy. Loved to shop. And was one of the first, I think, my generation, I think, might have been the first song with a bass solo.
Yeah, I think John's going to come up again tonight at some point.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Also, there's one other thing for me. It's big is the Guns N' Roses live eras. 1987 to 1992 is being released on vinyl. There's the black variant on most stores. The Guns N' Roses website has a picture disc variant and a colored wax variant. And I bought something from another site with an autograph, but it's the drummer, and it's not that exciting because it wasn't the original drummer in 1987. Any other releases you guys know of coming out
Well,
soon?
I got the on CD. I did get the new Sarah McLachlan. Got the new Black Keys. Got the new Rob Thomas. Got the new Bryan Adams. They're all still sealed because I haven't had time because I've been listening to Bob Dylan nonstop.
I can't wait to hear that.
Got another top 5 coming for you, son.
I'm
So
afraid to
we're
ask.
at the point now where we kind of talk about we're going through 500 records that we consider essential, and it's been really fun. I mean, my selections, I think I'm pretty happy that I got these. I mean, I listened to them like 4 or 5 times. I listened to documentaries. I've listened to all kinds of things. So there's a lot of cool tidbits. And let's start. Who wants to start with one of their 3 records?
Let's let Stacey start. Let's
I
have
knew that was
Stacey
gonna
go
happen.
with yeah.
I know.
Welcome.
Okay. The first one I'm going to show you guys is not Taylor Swift. This is Third Eye Blind, self-titled.
Yes.
Yes, this is one of
Yes!
my favorite albums of all time. It's in the top 3 albums of all time that I have on my list. This came out in 1997. It took over a year about to get on the charts, but it stayed there for 100 weeks. So there was 6 platinum certifications on this album. There's amazing singles on here. I don't know if you know this, Jake, but Third Eye Blind during this era opened for Oasis in San Francisco, and they were unsigned at the time. And they allowed them to open. They even got called out for an encore after they had performed, and it was that made Elektra sign them. They were the largest publishing deal for an unsigned artist at the time.
Well, I mean, is that surprising? If you look at the titles on that album, if they had those songs before they were signed,
Yeah, then what are they going to do
no-brainer
after?
to sign them.
Right. So most people know what's on here, but some of the songs that you guys probably know are Semi-Charmed Life, Jumper, Graduate, How It's Gonna Be. My favorite song on this album is Motorcycle Drive-By. It's the second to last song. This is a no-skip album for me, and I just love the cadence of the song. It starts slow, it kind of rises and comes back. And so I listened to this album in high school on CD in the car over and over. I played out the CD. So I have a lot of like nostalgia around it and being in high school and listening to it, just singing with friends, that sort of thing. The one thing about the album I think people don't know or don't understand is that it's a very happy sounding album, but a lot of the songs on here are not very happy. They deal with drug use, suicide, a lot of things that, the lead singer was going through or had been through. So I think that's a theme in my picks today, is to listen again to an album to appreciate the other side of what you might have heard. So not really a happy album. Listen to it again with some lyrics and you might see a different story.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's kind of a habit, like the stuff I had last week. Some of the songs just sound so happy, but then you really dig into the lyrics and you're like, "Ooh, this is a little dark." I mean, it's upbeat,
Yes.
but it's a little dark.
Yeah.
But it makes you think.
Yes. And my copy is the 2022 gold.
Ooh,
Mhm.
nice.
Yeah, I had that on heavy rotation too. I loved it when it came out.
I have the original, and it actually sounds really damn good.
All right, so Jake, you ready for one of yours?
I suppose. I think we're going to start it off with one of my favorite bands. A little Oasis. What's the story, Morning Glory?
Great transition.
October 30th, 1995. Huge year, guys. Some might say that sunshine follows thunder.
With that bad
Going
rendition,
to the man who cannot shine.
Well, Jake, with that rendition being so bad, I don't think we have to worry about copyright. Nobody's gonna flag that.
Listen, this album, probably one of the most defining albums of the 90s. Probably I'm going to go ahead and just say that it is definitely some of Noel Gallagher's greatest writings ever, although he had a 5-year run where everything he wrote couldn't be touched, right? I mean, their first album definitely maybe broke records during its release. This, I think, in the U.S., this album is really what broke in the U.S. Definitely maybe, I don't think was really as huge, obviously. They had hits and it had a lot of radio airplay, but Wonderwall just kind of blew the radio stations out. That thing was on constant play. Sold over 4.5 million copies in the U.S. Worldwide, over 22 million and counting. And of course, the singles that it has, everybody knows, obviously Wonderwall. I don't have to say that. Some might say, which I sung wonderfully, I want to say that I probably sounded exactly like Liam there. Roll With It. And of course, their signature anthem, Don't Look Back in Anger, which when I got to see them live last month, it's a very emotional thing when 80,000+ people are all standing in unison singing the same song back to one individual. You're all just in unison and sync. This was a huge record for me. This by far is one of the greatest albums ever, one of the greatest albums of the 90s, and everybody should have it. This copy that you see here is a 1995 UK original press. And it sounds pretty darn good. So I'm starting it off with a right record.
That's a good. We like to kid Jake a lot about his Oasis love, but that's a good record. That's a really good record.
Critically acclaimed, mind you. Critically acclaimed.
And those are the best moments at concerts. I think we talked a little bit about this on the last show. I commented in there that being in the same place as 70, 80,000 people, all listening to, singing, dancing to the same thing is just something you can't really put into words.
You can't. It's a very surreal thing. Look, the best concert that I had been to up to Oasis was seeing Peter Gabriel live during the US tour in summer of 1993, I believe. And I saw him in Dallas. And it was an unbelievable show. And nothing ever topped that until Oasis. Liam's voice was on point. He sounded amazing. You could tell that the guys, I mean, the brothers were having fun, man. I mean, they've been having fun all tour. But of course, they can't fight because they won't get paid until the shows are done. So they got to be on good behavior. But apparently, knock on wood, they're going to be touring again in 2026. I am praying for a new album.
Well, hopefully. Scott, what do you got for us?
Well, I'm going to stick. I didn't know which one I was going to do first, but Stacey and Jake made it easy. Let's stick in the 90s. Let's go with another amazing 90s album. Goo Goo Dolls, Dizzy Up the Girl. Look at my notes here. So we got 1998, so the fall of 1998. And an interesting story about this album was there's a couple of chain of events that happened. The album before, what was the name of that album? Something Goo, Boy Named Goo or something like that. It had the song name on it, which achieved hit status, and that's the first time the Goo Goo Dolls really got on the radar from the average radio listener. So it caused a lot of panic with John Resnick, the primary songwriter, and he got writer's block. So when they were trying to make the album, it went on for a couple of years. He went a whole year without finishing the song, and just the way life works out sometimes, the music director for City of Angels called him and said, "Hey, we'd like to have a song for the movie. Would you guys be interested in doing it?" And he kind of used it as a way to force himself to complete a song because there was a deadline and all that. So out came Iris out of that. And I mean, that's a song everybody knows, huge hit. Um, when I looked it up, I was kind of surprised because some of these you think, oh yeah, that was a number one hit. Actually, Iris was number 9. That was the peak, but it's one of the songs that was played and played and played for like 6-7 months. It just did not leave the charts. So that was on the soundtrack, and it kind of gave them the momentum and the confidence to finish off this album. And this album, apparently a lot of the songs were in pieces, but they finished it off. And I was counting. I've seen Goo Goo Dolls twice in the past, probably 7 years. There's 6 songs from this record that they do in concert. It's got a little rock to it too. Mainly they're alternative pop rock, jangle rock, whatever you want to call, a lot of those post grunge alternative rockers. They kind of, there's a whole big swath of them. Third Eye Blonde's in there, that had a similar sound. But Dizzy, Slide, that's a great song. My favorite Goo Goo Dolls song is Broadway. Some brilliant songwriting about how you look at your life, and it's got the lyric in there, young man sitting on a stool in an old man's bar, and then it flips at the end, and it's kind of makes you think. Black Balloon, which was not a single, but it if you ask most people, they would say, oh yeah, that was a single. It did get played on the radio. And then Iris is on the second side. It's the 2 from the last, but the other single was All Eyes on Me, and I think they kind of made a mistake. That's a good song, but I think they should have went with Dizzy or Slide as the next single, and they probably could have had another top 20 hit. They did have 1, 2, 3 top 25 hits off this record. The record sold 4 million, has sold 4 million in the US, 6 million worldwide. So it's a big time seller for them. And there's an interesting story about Acoustic Number 3, which is like a 1.5-minute song. And I've heard John Resnick say that they didn't really make it 3 minutes because they were afraid the record company would make it the follow-up to Iris, because it's a song like Iris and it's beautiful, but it's too short to be anything. So I thought that was interesting. You want the stardom, but you don't want that much stardom, and you don't want to get pigeonholed. So they started out as a punk band. First 2-3 albums, they were punk. So
they were, yeah. Apparently, they weren't great as a punk band.
Well, they let that other guy sing, and the only bad songs on that album is when they let Robbie sing.
There you go.
Somebody needs to set him down and say, dude, it's just not working. We got like 12 albums now. You haven't had a song chart, and it's rough when you transition from, John Resnick has a beautiful voice, and then you transition to that kind of, but I think Robbie sang a lot of the songs when they were punk, and that makes sense. He's got like a punk voice. So anyway, great band, great live too, really high energy live. Still out there, still going. They're celebrating a 30-year anniversary of A Boy Named Goo right now. So Naked and Name being much bigger on that album than Naked, but they did have 2 charting songs on that.
Jeremy goes, he is terrible.
Yeah, that we always they even let him sing in concert. I'm like, okay, good time for a bathroom break, I guess.
Yeah. I actually saw a live show and he sang, and I'm like, this is horrendous.
Yep. It's like when we let you sing, Jake. Why are we doing that?
That's true.
Because I have pipes of an angel.
So my one of mine, and since Molly helped me segue into mine, and it's not Taylor, this album has probably the number 1 karaoke song of all time, I would think. So this is Garth Brooks, No Fences.
Garth. Look at Garth.
Look at him.
We got a country.
The only Garth Brooks album I own.
Came out in 1990. I believe I went to see him live right around that time. I can't remember if it was like whatever the No Fences tour was, but I did get to see him live right around this time. Think of an artist that likes, let's see, Kiss, the Beatles, George Jones, George Strait, all the classic country, but also rock artists, and you get Garth Brooks.
I'm going to agree with
Stadium
Stacey.
Country. He invented Stadium Country. This was his second album. Second album was self-titled, came with the dance. This does not have the dance unless you bought it in Europe. In Europe, they included the 4 singles from his first album on this. This is the record that catapulted him to mega stardom, like off the charts. Yeah, this is the first year the album, the form Thunder Rolls was. It leads off with Thunder Rolls. What I mean, this song is about a husband returning from someplace he should not have been. I do. This is that series. This is from the box set that he came out with. It sold over 17 million copies in the US, worldwide 30 million. The singles, Friends in Low Places, The Dance, Two of a Kind, Working on a Full House, Unanswered Prayers. The album peaked at 100 on the Billboard 200 and the top country album chart. Friends and Lows peaked at number 1 on the country chart. See on here, the AI has The Dance. If you do AI on this record, it has The Dance. But I guess that's probably because the European version had The Dance. The first song, Thunder Roll, he actually tried to he co-wrote it with someone else, and he was trying to get Reba McEntire or Tanya Tucker to take that song on and sing. Luckily, he sang it for himself. There is a fourth verse because when he comes home, I believe she shoots him in the extra verse.
It's on the live album.
It's on the live album, and this video did get banned on CMT and TNN. I think, yeah, the national network. They got banned on both, and of course, only when you ban something, what happens?
Everybody wants to
hear it.
Mhm.
So everyone, and that just kicked it off. And then he won. I know he won. He won. Did he? That shot don't work. So this definitely catapulted him, and that's why everyone knows Garth Brooks. And we got Stadium Country because of him. And
I agree with that, Sean. Like, I really think, like, I think both him first, but then also Kidney Chesney, they kind of brought the rock vibe to country concerts where, you know, they were big and loud and, you know, guitars and, you know, everything else. But another fact about that album is Friends in Low Places was actually released as a song by Mark Chestnut first, and it didn't do anything. And I think it just needed Garth's kind of growl on it, you know,
Yeah.
the way he sings it makes it much more interesting.
Friends in Low Places is about a bar called the Oasis. It's down the street from my uncle's old business. I've been there. You get to go in. They give you a knife. The whole place is made of wood. So you can carve your name or whatever you want. The table, the seats, the booths, whatever it is. Everything is wood, and they will give you a knife and tell you to carve it.
Oh, phew. I didn't know where you were going with that,
Hey,
Stacey. They give you a knife. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. You can carve your name or a heart or whatever. It's pretty cool.
Sean, I have a question for you.
yes.
If the album would have been called Chris Gaines, No Fences, would you have purchased it?
No, because you can't have an alias when you're that new. You can't. But again, if you guys get a chance to see him, see him. He's one of those people that put every ounce of sweat, work, running around the stage. I mean, he is so much fun. And like the last concert, he did 2 shows a day. And tickets were only $75. It was a flat rate. No, there weren't higher price tickets. They were $75. And he did 2 shows a day in Philly.
Wow.
Non-stop.
I don't know anybody else in the world that would want to go out 2 times a day and face the Philly fans.
And then he just runs around like crazy. And he's wearing he usually wears like a sports jersey, but he's got to be sweating his ass off. He just has to be, because he just doesn't stop. And luckily I saw him in, I think it was 1990, 91. And I remember him covering a Beatles song in the show, and just an amazing show.
All right, so that's our first country entry.
Now we go back to yeah, it is the first country. Back to Stacey now with her.
Okay, so my second pick is going to be no surprise. It's by Taylor Swift. The reason that I'm showing this album, which I'm not showing it yet on purpose, is because I think that a lot of people don't quite feel the same way I do about this album and what the message is. So The album is Reputation by Taylor Swift. This is the FYE Orange. This was released on November 10th, 2017. If you know the story, then you know that this was her emergence back into the public eye. She had been missing basically for a year. She describes this album, or she did a couple years ago, described it as a goth punk moment of female rage at being gaslit by an entire social structure, which sounds a little bit like some of the new stuff on the new album. There's two sides of this album, and that's why I brought it. There's the aggressive public side. Look what you made me do. Are you ready for it? This is why we can't have nice things. All this stuff, this is why we can't have nice things is clearly about her feud with Kanye. But then you look at some of the other songs on the album, like Dance, or Dress, and Delicate, Call It What You Want, New Year's Day. This is through and through a love album. And that's my personal opinion. I think that Reputation is one of the best love albums that she's put out. I think a lot of people really just see it as like this badass female album where she's like, this is me. This is what you guys did to me. You better watch out. But then there's this really, really soft side of this album that I love so much that really has a great feeling to it. If you listen to it, listen to the lyrics. So again, I challenge you to go back and listen to it again and try to appreciate the message of love and relationships on this album.
Stacey, which songs on there do you think really need more focus to fully appreciate?
Call It What You Want and Dress. Dress is, it's not about love, it's about sex, but it is also about love because it's about a woman buying a dress just so that the person they're going to see can take it off, which is still love in an essence of it. Call It What You Want is really good. That's one of my favorites. Endgame with Ed Sheeran, also a love song. I could just keep going and going, but I just want people to don't listen to Look What You Made Me Do and Ready for It every single time you listen to the album. Like, appreciate the other songs on there.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Now, who is a better strong songwriter? Taylor in a relationship or Taylor out of a relationship?
I think she's a great songwriter, whether she's in or out, but I think that the songs she writes are very different. We kind of talked about this, I think, Sean, but I love happy, love bubblegum pop Taylor personally. But I also love really sad, stoic Taylor like TTPD. I really think that, sorry, Molly, I love Endgame. I think that it all depends on what's happening in your life. Somebody mentioned it in the chat earlier that you can go back to an album, listen to it, and it will hit you a different way because of what's happening. I just happen to listen to albums in Taylor's collection at certain times that they apply to me as well. And so I think it's really personal interpretation. If it's a day where it's like, I'm very angry and I feel like I've been manipulated by a man, let's say, I'll listen to those other songs on rep. But also if I'm like just kind of in a good mood and I want to like love, then I'll listen to the love songs. So,
all right, Stacey, I have to ask the hard question because I did extremely non-scientific poll. But hey, that's the age we live in, and the thing that come up about 80% of the time, and I told them this is what we try to do, a gateway record for an artist, and 80% of the time people said 1989. So why not 1989 first?
Well, I don't think 1980. Well, first, Rep is not my favorite album. I will say that. I don't think it's her best album, but I think it's an album that needs to be on the list because everyone needs to listen to it. 1989 is very poppy. It's what you expect from Taylor. If I was going to have somebody who does not like Taylor listen to Taylor, I would send them to Folklore and Evermore because I feel like that's the gateway Taylor because it's not pop. It is more folky. It's not based on her life, she says. It's a fictional story about characters. And I think it's very relatable for a lot of people. And I think that would be, I think Folklore or Evermore would be the Taylor awakening.
All right. Well, we certainly appreciate you wading into that. I said I could really mess up Bob Dylan tonight because Stacey's going to pick Reputation. So,
yeah, it's like I said, it's not my favorite by her, but it is a very good one, and I do think everyone needs to listen to it. at least once.
All right. So that officially, we only got 40 albums into the essentials before we did acknowledge that Taylor Swift is a significant artist of our time and all time. Yeah.
So, Jake, what are you going to sing for us? Well, what's your next album, sir?
Well, speaking of 1989, this album came out September 17th, 1989, produced by the legendary Bob Rock. I don't know how many times Bob Rock has been mentioned over the last 3 episodes on iconic albums. The guy has produced some bangers. I think this album is by far Ian Astbury and Billy Duffy's best composition. I think y'all know what I'm talking about. And that album is going to be The Cult, Sonic Temple. This album, first time I heard it was right before my brother went to go see the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Yes, it just turned 36. We just had a 36th birthday for Sonic Temple. And my brother went and saw the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and the band that backed them was The Cult, which is a pretty interesting combo. Sold over 3 million copies worldwide. I know it did over 1 million in the States. Obviously, singles it had. Firewoman released in March of 89. Sweet Soul Sister was in July of 89. And then we've got Edie Chow Baby, which was March of 1990. This was a top 10 Billboard 200. It did chart. Firewoman was number 2 on the Billboard's mainstream rock tracks. Sweet Soul Sister was number 16, and Edie Chow Baby was number 6 on the mainstream rock tracks. So, cool thing about this record, I think what I love all of their albums. It's hard for me. Someone asked me, like, do you like Electric or do you like Cult or Sonic Temple? And I tend to go to Sonic Temple because this is a transitional phase, in my opinion, for the Cult. They kind of were a little goth rocky with Love, and then Electric kind of was taking them to where we get to Sonic Temple. So I think Sonic Temple is probably their masterpiece, although I go back and forth between Electric and Sonic Temple quite a bit. This just has a harder sound to it. This was, Ian Astbury at his peak. Nobody sounds like him. There's only one rock star that I would say sounds like him, or Ian sounds like, and that's Jim Morrison, which oddly enough, Ian did tour with the Doors years later and sang with them when, they and Robbie Krieger and all them went on tour. He actually sang, he was their lead singer. So it was kind of fitting to actually see that, because if you listen to Ian's vocals and you go and you listen to Jim Morrison sing, there is kind of a resemblance in a way. But yeah,
I agree with you, Jake, that is the album. Even if you wanted to call it a draw, Firewoman's like a top 50 rock song ever. That
hands
is
down,
just smoking song.
Hands down. It was the record that got me attracted to them, right? And Firewoman was like everywhere, on radio play. So, and again, obviously when we were growing up, everything that we heard, like, I think you and I talked about this, Scott. Like, I remember when I would hear songs come on the radio, and if it was something that moved me, I would pick up the phone. I was like 13 years old. I never had problems. I would pick the phone up. I would dial the radio station and would ask them, like, who's the band? What's the name of the song? And like, I would research the ever living hell out of it. But I remember calling up the radio station and asking them to constantly replay Firewoman.
Yeah.
And my dad would be like, okay, yes, you can call them. And, would just get on.
We were talking about that this week, that some people have no idea. That's what you did is
you called the radio station.
Yeah. You couldn't stream. You had to call the radio station, get them played, then listen to the radio station till they finally got your request on. Yeah, it was crazy back in the day.
Sit
Yeah,
by
'cause
the
they had,
boombox
you know-
with your finger on record, waiting for it to come on so you could press it. So
Hell
you could
yes.
beat it.
That's exactly what we did.
That's
And the
what I mean.
DJ would talk
we did.
over the beginning of the song.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
get my blank tapes, and then we would, when the shows would come on the radio, we would just record. We'd record the whole thing.
Yeah,
So fun
good.
times. I miss those days.
Yeah, I think that selection, Jake, is a little bit off the beaten path, but it is a group that they fall kind of in a weird genre. Like you don't
Yep.
really know what to call them, but it is a group that people should pay attention to. They got a lot of great songs, but 3 really solid albums. that
Three
you
solid
should,
records. I
probably
think
have.
Love, Electric, and Sonic Temple are 3 great albums. I mean, Love is a little more goth rock, but I think with the Cult, I think those first 2 records, I honestly think that Ian and Billy and company were really trying to figure out, like, what the hell is our identity?
Yeah.
Like, what are we? And it was just a natural, evolution that got them to Sonic Temple. And man, it's such a great record. It's definitely one of my tops. A lot of sentimental value there because my brother was the one who really got me interested in them.
All right, Scott is up next.
All right. Well, I was so excited about the albums this week because when I started reviewing, I was like, I love all these albums. So this one is almost one of the genesis points for Jake and I becoming friends. I was in his stream and he was selling this record and he was playing it and it sounded great and people were really getting into it. Me and him were talking it up and he sold that darn thing for $32 or something. I was like,
Yeah,
wow, that's like $20 over normal. But this album, it blows my mind why it hasn't gotten like the audiophile treatment and re-released.
Yeah.
It's on Allen Records, and in general, I think they fall down on the reissues and stuff, celebrating the anniversaries. They're just not on their game. There was a big difference in this album and his last 2 albums. He had a few chart singles, Valerie, and he was doing okay. He used to be in Traffic and was in Spencer Davis Group. Actually sang what was it? Give Me Some Lovin'.
Blind Faith.
Yeah, he was in Blind Faith. Yeah, and so he was doing okay, and then he decided to bring in people to work with him on this album. So he brought in Joe Walsh, plays on 2 songs. What's the guy from Chic? Bernard Rogers, who plays guitar for Chic and is a renowned guitarist himself, kind of like an R&B guitarist. Brought him in, and he was writing with this guy named Will Jennings. So they started writing together on the previous album, but everything on here was co-written with Will Jennings, except for Split Decision, which was co-written with Joe Walsh. And I was looking at this album, so the sales were 3 million in the US, 4 million worldwide. The album was number 1, and this is 1986. I'm sorry, I should have said 1986.
Killer year.
Yeah, it was a killer year, and Higher Love was another one of the songs that stayed around on the charts for a long time. But we had there's only 9 albums on the album, 9 songs on the album, and there were 6 singles. So that kind of tells you, how good it was. It had a long life. It was nominated for a Grammy, and actually, I think they won the Grammy for Song of the Year or Record of the Year. The one where it's the performance, not the songwriting, for Higher Love. But they were nominated for Best Engineered Record too, which that's, to my point, it's one of the best sounding records. When I want to test out a hi-fi or something, I put that album on, and Finer Things, like the song Finer Things, the drums, the horns. Yeah, we should get them all up here. Yeah.
I was like, I don't have one. Sorry.
Yeah. You're out of the club, Stacey. So you need to get one. That's why we do this show. So you know what to go back and get when you were too young to know about these things. But there's not a skippable song on here. Like My Love's Leaving is probably the worst song, and it's still good. It's like I always use 5 rating of 5. It's like a 3-star for me. I'm not going to change it. I enjoy it when it comes on, but I'm not going to go open Spotify or whatever and pick it to listen to. But really great album. Another case to be made that it doesn't have to be analog to be great. This was recorded on analog tape, but they did mix it down to digital, and that's where they did all the mastering is in digital. So definitely pick this up. I don't know anybody that couldn't not enjoy this album. Steve Winwood, Back in High Life.
You think about 1986, right? You think about Back in the High Life. You think about Paul Simon's Graceland. You think about Peter Gabriel's So. You think about Genesis' Invisible Touch. There are so many bangers that came out that year. And Back in the High Life, I think really kind of put, I think everyone knew who Steve Winwood was. I mean, he was 15 years old when he was with Spencer Davis Group, coming out and having the voice that he had. I mean, he was a teenager. I think he was 19 by the time he got with Blind Faith. So, I mean, everybody obviously knew of him overseas. And he had some hits in his earlier, solo stuff. But I think Back in the High Life is what really catapulted him in the States more so. It really made him more mainstream. I don't think he was really mainstream until this album came out. This, and then in 1988 when he did Roll With It.
Yeah, and that was really the momentum off of this album being so huge.
Yeah,
and I mean, you can hear so many elements in his music. You have a little bit of R&B, like Blue Eyed Soul sound to it. It has a little bit of rock, to it. Reggae, gospel, with those. He plays a lot of various keyboards. So you got the Moog, and you got the Roland, and you got the Yamaha, all the different sounds. He uses them to good effect. And Back in High Life has a mandolin. Any song with a mandolin, I'm immediately like, that's the greatest instrument in the world.
Mandolin Rain. I mean, come on.
Yeah. all the Hooters songs have a mandolin in them. So.
They do.
So anyway, if you're not familiar with the album, it's something you can pick up really if you're in the right stream, not Gonzo's stream. You can pick it up for.
We almost all three of us almost always have
it, and it usually goes for $5 to $10.
It's like $5 to $10. Yeah. Hey, for the record, yes, that album did sell in my show for I think $32. I did start it at $1. FYI, that was $8 start.
You just talked it up so well.
And
people
I talked it up
really
for
were
about
into it.
10 minutes because it's just such a good record.
And I got no commission on that. And I know I helped him sell that record.
All right. So I'm going to go next. And I'm very excited with this record. I've always loved this record. I want to thank Luke Combs for covering it. I know a lot of people poo-poo remakes, but remakes always highlight back to the original artist. So I always appreciate a good remake because we finally got the reissue of Tracy Chapman self-titled record.
Yeah.
So I do want to thank Luke Combs for that. He did keep it close, and
he did a great job with it, to be honest.
He did, and a lot of people didn't really know, were not that familiar with her, and she came back she tends to hide. She does an album and she tends to hide for a long period of time. So this came out in 1988. But a little background, she was born in Cleveland, and she was lucky enough to get a scholarship to go to a boarding school in Danbury, Connecticut. And from there, she went to Tufts University. Talking About Revolution was kind of written about the time she was at that boarding school. Because when you go to a boarding school, you get the people with the scholarships, and then you have the rich kids, and they kind of are clueless with the plight of other people in the world. They kind of don't recognize the social or economic differences and inequalities. And she definitely did. Coming with her family from Cleveland, she experienced a lot of those things. And she wrote about, it wasn't always autobiographical, but it was usually her or someone she knew. And So she luckily, I mean, she was going in and out of clubs, coffee houses in Boston. She went to Tufts, so she was in the Boston area. I can't imagine. I kind of wish that I somehow ran into her when I was there, but I never did. But it came out in 1988. U.S. sales were about approximately 6 million copies. Worldwide was 10 million. It leads off with talking about a revolution. Her style is very folky and very simple. I mean, it's more her and the guitar more than anything else. When they signed her, they expected, because at that time, in 1888, what did we had? Hair bands and New Kids on the Block, and that's kind of the trend. So they really didn't expect much from her. They expected maybe 200,000 copies might sell, maybe. But then she had a big break, huge break, and so they were doing a concert for Nelson Mandela in the UK at Wembley Stadium, and they needed some standby artists, someone just a guitar and a voice, so that if there was any issues, they could jump on stage. Luckily, Stevie Wonder had some issues and could not perform, and she didn't even know if she was going to play. And then Stevie couldn't. She went on stage, just her and her guitar, came out singing "Fast Car" and talking about revolution. So it was Nelson Mandela's 70th birthday. He had been in jail for 25 years, still at that point. And there was the concert, and there was over 600 million people worldwide watching when she went on stage. So it went from maybe a 200,000 to over 6 million copies worldwide. So maybe we wouldn't have really heard about her without that opportunity where Stevie Wonder couldn't take the stage. Yeah. And go to YouTube and Google Wembley Stadium, Tracy Chapman, and just watch she just starts off and you can see a little bit of nervous. And then, I mean, she plays the whole song like perfect. And 70 or 80,000 people, and then 600 million people worldwide. I think that's going to get you. Yeah. And then after that, it dominated. Because the album peaked at number 1 on the Billboard 200. Fast Car peaked at number 6. Talking About Revolution peaked at number 75, and Baby I Can Hold You at 48.
What year is this, Sean?
1988.
Yeah.
It's definitely a must-have. I love Talking About a Revolution more than I love Fast Car, but the lyrics and Talking About a Revolution, she wrote that song at 16. She had that way before the album. So definitely something I recommend. Any of you guys have any comments on this?
Well, I'm just glad that back in the 80s, late 80s, this was not like my primary vein of music, but I think great music always finds a way, to find you. And I was definitely a Tracy Chapman fan. I mean, I don't know how you can hear, especially those two songs, and not say that they're wonderful. And I'm glad that she comes back up, because she is not out there a lot. You don't see her in the news and stuff. So people do not want to forget about this album. I'm so glad we did include it in the essential, because it's a unique sounding album too. Kind of folky maybe, but folk rock maybe.
Yeah. Just amazing album. I can't say it enough. And every time I got a copy, I sold it, and I'm glad they did the reissue. It took forever. And maybe it was because of Luke Combs. They figured, you know what, we might as well do it now. So thank you, Luke. And then she performed live. We saw it live on the award show. She popped up with him, and it was amazing.
I think a whole new generation of music listeners got into Tracy Chapman now because of Luke Combs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that reissue is, it didn't get the Rhino Hi-Fi designation, but it is done in a similar manner. And I think that's because Tracy retained a lot of control over her music, and she had to approve. She was involved in the remastering of this album. I have it too. It sounds fantastic. And I didn't have to pay $85 or $100 for an OG.
Yeah, the OG is about $80 to $100.
Yeah, well, they're 50 now, but I think the reissues kind of killed that market a little bit.
All right, Stacey, you are up.
Okay, my last pick is Lord Pure Heroine. This album came out in 2013. It's not a very long album, only about 37 minutes, but I love the sound. This is my favorite Lord album. I love the sound on this album. She wrote and produced this with just one other person. And she didn't really lean heavy on the background music or the synth pop. It's very bassy, it's very simple. There were 3 million copies sold globally. Royals, which was the first single, went to number 1 on the Hot 100. Tennis Court went to number 24, and Team went to number 6. The album peaked at number 3. One reason that I, again, really love this song is that it takes a view at the music industry or writing music, and it kind of takes a dig. So if you've heard Royals, you've heard her talk about, the gold teeth and those sorts of things, and kind of poking fun at all of the royal people in the music industry. This came out when she was 16 years old. She's from Auckland, New Zealand. So she was very young. So I liked that. It was a good transition with Tracy Chapman writing that song at 16 and then this, because she did write this album with someone else at that age. And she continues to kind of take that sort of approach on her stuff. The songs on here, Tennis Court, Royals, Ribs is an amazing song. Buzzcut Season, Team, Glory and Gore, A World Alone, all very good. Obviously, Royals is the one everybody knows. I think that Tennis Court is the best song on this album, followed by Ribs. They have a little bit of a deeper meaning to them and not as Royals is a really great song, but it was definitely overplayed, and it was definitely more of like a catchier, and I think the other ones are not. Basically, the story here is kind of the story like Reputation. This was a 16-year-old girl who wasn't afraid to speak her mind and write an album about how she felt and put it out, and it just blew up from there. And I chose this one too because I'm going to see Lord in 12 days.
Oh, nice. What is it in the water in New Zealand that produces a disproportionate amount of great artists for the population? I mean,
Yeah,
Island fever.
Isolation.
yeah,
might be
nothing else to
isolation,
do.
right?
I
Nothing
gotta
else
get
to
off
do but
this
write
island.
music, record music.
Yeah.
All right, so Gonzo, what is your last pick for today?
My last pick is an album we all love. Scott probably has an idea what I'm pulling up. But this was released March 26, 1976. This came out a year before the Gonzinator's birth. Completely different sound from the stuff they did in the 80s when they kind of went a little more metal, and that's really where they kind of lost me, per se. But I think this is the album that really put them on the map. I think this is their masterpiece. That album is Thin Lizzy Jailbreak. March 26th, 1976. It peaked at number 18 on the Billboard 200. The two main hits that charted, number 12 was The Boys Are Back in Town, which I think is kind of like their staple. And then you've also got Jailbreak, which is, one of my favorite songs on the record. But I still think that their anthem of all anthems, and it should be a song that I had here that should be in the notes, and I think it should have charted. I think the best song on the record is Cowboy Song.
Hell yes, it is. Why wasn't it by far the best song?
I have no idea why Cowboy Song did not chart, but it is by far, probably, in my opinion, the best song on the album. It is their breakout album, and I wrote some notes here, combining elements of hard rock, progressive rock, and Irish folk influences. Album features a selection of tracks that underscore the band's unique sound, characterized by twin guitar harmonies, which that was something that I wanted to point out. In the late 70s, a lot of bands were getting into those twins, those twin guitar sounds. The bands that were doing it at the time, obviously, Thin Lizzy was one of them. The Eagles were one of them. It was just,
Leonard Skinner.
Leonard Skinnerd, one
Allman
of them.
Brothers, Allman Brothers too.
Allman Brothers, like it was just a thing. But there was something with Jailbreak, in my opinion. I guess maybe the way it was produced, but the way the album sounds, the tones, just off the guitars and how it plays, you can't compare it. It is a full on just power rock album. The whole album, I guess if you gave me a word, it's raunchy. Yeah. It's raunchy. It's got crunch to it. Again, I never really got into a lot of the kind of the later 80s before Phil Lynott died. Yeah. Some of the more like kind of metal stuff, but I think Jailbreak was definitely like their best. And the crazy thing about it, man, is that it only sold in the US at the time. It sold about 1 million copies in the US. I think it sold 3 to 5 million worldwide. And I think over the years, over the last 48 years it's been out, it's really become, and I don't even want to say a cult classic because the album is a classic, but I think it has really gained a lot of steam over the last 10 years. It didn't win any major awards. It didn't, there were no Grammys or anything along those lines, but and it was a short record. The album was under 40 minutes long when it came out, which I think it came out at like 36 minutes, which is fairly short. But man, you got 36 minutes of just rocket sauce. Well, everything on it is amazing.
Yeah, Cowboy Song, if you like dual lead guitar, it has a killer. And I agree with you, Jake. What I like about Thin Lizzy in their guitars, the tone. They have such a good tone on those guitars.
Yeah, you could put them on the radio, right? Play them on the radio, or just put them on and not tell, right? Like you can hear it now. You just a band you can listen to. The second you hear them and you hear a tone of a guitar, it's like the same thing with David Gilmour. The second I hear any Pink Floyd song or any Gilmour solo stuff, the second I hear one bend, it's like that's David Gilmour. It's kind of the same thing with that, those dual guitar sounds that Thin Lizzy just really kind of was known for. You know a Thin Lizzy song when you hear it. It's unmistakable. You can't miss it. And they consider it a hard rock record. But I don't know. I don't know if I would consider it hard rock. I would say it's good rock and roll, but I'm not necessarily going to classify it as metal. I think the 80s stuff that they did was kind of more along that route. But
yeah, I don't think it's hard rock. I mean, it's rock, definitely, but I don't think it's hard rock.
I agree. And definitely, Phil was on point on this. Bass playing, the vocals, the writing. Again, the whole album's great. Even though they think that Boys Are, Back in Town is like the anthem, I think Scott and I both disagree. I think we're both in agreement that for whatever reason, the Cowboy Song is, I think, more.
It's more anthem-like.
Go back. I'm not familiar off the top, man. I'm gonna have to look that one up and give it a listen.
I am just a cowboy.
Well, I'll give you some tracks off of it, Sean. So the opening track is Jailbreak. And again, it's got a great just bass riff to it. You've got Angel from the Coast, Running Back, Romeo and the Lonely Girl, Warriors, and then side 2 you've got The Boys Are Back in Town, Fight or Fall, I'm sorry, Cowboy Song, which is mine and Scott's favorite, and then you've got Emerald.
Yeah.
But really, Phil Lynott and Scott Graham on this, just Scott, man, he just wailed on this album.
Yeah, Scott Gorham. Yeah.
So
that's exciting. Me and Jake freaking geeking out a little bit over.
You agree, and I'm definitely have to give a listen. That's why we're kind of doing the list so that we can. And you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, I will say Johnny the Fox is still a good album as well, but I don't think anything touches Jailbreak.
Bad Reputation is my second favorite.
Okay, I would concur with you there.
All right, Scott, you are up next.
All right. Well, we're going from one iconic 70s record to another iconic 70s record. And it is The Who. Who's next? So let me
I
get my
have that
note
one
here.
too.
Everybody should have it. Stacey.
Stacey!
Should be mandatory, or you must leave the
And
country.
they're reissuing, aren't they? All the Who catalog right now with the new remasters.
Yeah, well, they did that like last year. They did the half-speed remaster of The Who, which I bought that album and then sold it because I thought it sounded terrible. But who's next? 1971, and when you think about certainly one of the most iconic rock bands ever, is The Who. But for me, this was a gateway, and it was interesting because they were coming off of Tommy, and their sound changed big time with this. And this album was supposed to be another concept record that was going to be called Lifehouse. And Pete Townsend, as Pete Townsend does, he wrapped himself in so much detail. He made it so big he couldn't complete it. And they finally said, enough is enough. We're going to take the songs off of this and take some of them and make a regular studio album. But there were some significant improvements in the sound of The Who in between that. There was, and this is my opinion. First of all, Keith Moon did not like the drum sound on the earlier Who albums. And he went to the producer and said, I want a bigger sound. And so he got a new kit. They mic'd it differently. And if you listen to this album, the drums are huge on this. And, Keith Moon was the king of the random, interesting feel. Like,
he was not known to really play with the hi-hats a lot.
Yeah. And some people would call him the Neil Young of drumming. Like, he doesn't always hit all the right notes, but man, the guy's got some passion and he can make a sound,
Very
so they did that.
spasmic.
And Entwistle was looking for, John Entwistle, the bass player, was looking for a better sound. He got with this string company and he went over to the factory and they made strings and made strings. He was looking for something that had a little more reverb on the bass. And Entwistle, in his own right, could have been a lead guitarist. He's a very good guitarist. Just happened to be a bass player in The Who.
You do know that he was also an accomplished French horn player as well.
Wow, talented guy.
He played the French horn,
and he started on piano.
Toot his own horn.
Yeah, and he wrote and sang a couple. He sang one song on here, My Wife. So I was really surprised with these numbers. This album's only sold 3 million in the U.S., 6 million worldwide. I thought those numbers would have been a little higher for this record. It was produced by Glenn Johns, but
he did everything.
Yeah, and his take on it was, well, Pete Townsend would bring fully baked demos in. Like, Pete played the drums, he played every instrument, so he would come and the song would sound like it would be. But of course, if you add Entwistle, Keith Moon in, it's going to sound bigger. And with this album, I think this is the beginning of arena rock because he introduced the keyboard. Now, it was a little cheap keyboard that I think he had most of his life, and he started making that on the beginning of Baba O'Reilly. There's a repeating sequence, which actually is not a loop. He's playing that, and apparently it changes a little bit as it goes on. I never thought it changed. I thought it was a repeating loop. I just learned that this week. I thought, wow. And then at the end of the song, end of the album, Won't Get Fooled Again, has a similar thing. So first time, like, keyboards in, and then we would see a parade of that, like Foreigner and all the groups that came later. Keyboards were allowed now in blues-based rock and roll bands. A lot of them did not do it very well, and it sounds very dated, but it's brilliant on here. You hear the intro to those songs. I mean, they give you goosebumps. And then they come in so big. So the singles off it were Baba O'Reilly. And if you're not familiar, I've never heard that song, Baba O'Reilly. Teenage Wasteland. That's the refrain in the song. Behind Blue Eyes, just a wonderful vocal delivery by Roger Daltrey on that. That's a beautiful song. Won't Get Fooled Again, which I will tell you, if you have the greatest hits or any comps, you only get a 3.5 minute version of Won't Get Fooled Again. In its full glory, Won't Get Fooled Again is 8.5 minutes long. Now, my wife hates these kind of songs. I love them. Like,
I do
yes,
too.
just give me more of that, And it has the iconic line, "Meet the new boss, same as the old boss."
Same as the
And,
old boss.
yeah, and it's while not a concept album, it definitely has some big ideas in here. Teenage Wasteland, that's really about consumptive economy, and not taking care of the planet. And but good album cuts. Going Mobile, that's sung by Pete Townsend. Of course, Pete can sing. He's not Daltrey, but he can sing very nice. Bargain is on here. Would have been a single on any other album. Bargain
Yeah.
would have been. And Getting in Tune, just a great album. And really, I don't know anybody that sounds bigger than The Who. Like, if I think about, I'm going to fill up a 15,000 seat arena, who can make the biggest sound? I think The Who might be the band you have there to do that.
I think, Scott, this album is what really put Roger Daltrey out as a true frontman. I know in the earlier years of The Who, there were a lot of issues. Like he was, I think, kicked out briefly.
Yeah, he was for fighting.
He's a
fighter.
He was he's a pretty spunky guy. But I think he had issues really trying to figure out like what his identity was, especially when you've got Entwistle, Keith Moon, and Pete Townsend, all phenomenal, players, of their instruments. And then, Roger, some people don't realize Roger Daltrey did play guitar.
He just couldn't write songs. That was his problem.
When the band first got together, I believe he was lead guitar and Pete Townsend was rhythm in the very beginnings of the band. But I think this was really him finding his identity. And then, of course, he came out, like we all know Roger Daltrey, coming out swinging the damn microphone. And
I mean, like him and Mick Jagger, like kind of defined what a rock star was during the rock era,
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's it's interesting because Townsend is like Richards too, in the way that you wouldn't pick them to do the lead solo, but if you need a killer riff, those guys could come up with some amazing riffs.
Yeah, they can.
All right, so that's The Who. Pick it up if you don't own it. I figure a lot of people do. It needs to be more than 3 million, so go buy this album. You can buy it on Whatnot. I see it occasionally out there.
I just sold it.
Yep, there you go.
All right, my album came out in September of 1977. It was recorded in the summer of 77. The same time Son of Sam was running around New York City. Billy Joel was in the studio making The Stranger. He had just gotten finished with doing several shows at Carnegie Hall. And then went into the studio and recorded The Stranger. This is his 5th studio album, and this is the album that put him over the top. You would say, what, 5 albums? And this was the album. It took 5 albums.
His other 4 bombed, technically.
Well, and I think it was more, it got radio play, but it didn't get people buying records. This record, people bought it. It sold over 10 million copies in the US, over 20 million worldwide. So it put him from, filling small venues to filling stadiums. It was produced by Phil Ramone, and it could have been George Martin, which is
that's
crazy.
Right. It could have been
George Martin.
And
the problem is, all of Billy Joel's records before that had studio musicians, and he just felt that he really needed to do an album with his actual band. So when he had the opportunity to be with George Martin didn't want that, and Billy Joel was, no, I want to do it this way. And he heard of the guy Phil Ramone. He hired Phil Ramone to produce the record, and I think it was an amazing fit.
Well, I mean, no, I mean, I respect George Martin, but who on earth's going to sound better on a Billy Joel record than Liberty DeVito on drums? I think
I was about to go like, nobody right. Sounds like Liberty, man. He plays with he is a fierce drummer, man. He hits the kit hard.
So the first song is Moving Out, right?
Yeah.
Does anyone know what vehicle was used to make that sound effect?
What, when the car's taken off?
Yes.
No.
Is it a particular car? I'm just gonna say it's a Studebaker.
No. Well, first of all, they hung a microphone off the back of a 60s Corvette, and they did some peeling out.
That's
So
cool.
that's where you got that from. So it leads off with Moving Out, which, again, I mean, these songs are crazy. Moving Out, which is Anthony's song. And then it goes into The Stranger, which, if you listen to that one, it has that whistling at the beginning, and they're in the studio, and Billy Joel's like, I think it should have some kind of instrument. I don't know what instrument, but it should have an instrument. And he whistled, and he asked Phil, "So what do you think?" He said, "Well, you just did it." And there you go. It's on the album. So Phil really just let him do his thing and just really honed the skills on this album. Just the Way You Are was the one that got Record of the Year, and also was nominated for Album of the Year. And Just the Way You Are almost didn't make it to the album. So they recorded it. They were sitting in the studios. I think it's on 52nd Street was the studio, and they're listening to it and they're like, "This is a chick song. No, I don't think this is good for our album." And then my buddy Linda Ronstadt and Phoebe Snow happened to stop by while they were listening to this song and going, "That song is amazing. You have to put it on the album. You're crazy if you don't put it on the album." So my buddy Linda Ronstadt told him, you should. And good thing she did, because that was what he won a Grammy for.
That's why women rock.
There you go.
Because two women, I'll piggyback on that. Two women come in the studio and they hear that and they tell him that needs to be on the album. And he's like, "Really? You think it's a hit?" And they're like, "Absolutely." Billy Joel's wife
Yes.
had a big part in having that song put out as a single.
Yep.
Because the producers chose, I think, Moving Out, and she chose Just the Way You Are.
And Moving
Just the
Out
Way
was
You
first, but she conceded and said, "Okay, Moving Out first, but the next single
But
has
the
to be
next
Just the Way
single
You
is going to
Are."
be Just the Way You Are.
Yeah.
Look at that. 3 women.
Yeah.
It
And the
gives me-
album
gives
peaked
me
at number
chills,
2.
man.
It was big in Europe and Japan, and so now you have Billy Joel, the international star. And if this record didn't take off, he was probably done, or at least done with that record label. But it definitely exceeded everyone's expectations, and we got Billy. We got all the other great work from him. Another couple other notes I had on this was he was there was a thing he was talking about doing TV shows, how he hated them, but he liked doing Saturday Night Live because they had a great sound system. So when they went to promote this album, they were about to go on stage and they hear this huge ruckus going on. So apparently Chevy Chase came back to guest host, and a fight broke out between him and Bill Murray. Bill Murray. And just as they're going on stage, they're seeing this happen, like, what's going on? And then John Belushi comes in to try to break it up, and he takes the punch from Bill Murray that was meant for Chevy Chase. So I just kind of think it's funny. I just think it's a funny story.
I don't know if I would have messed with Chevy, because Chevy, he boxed. He was a boxer.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they didn't get along. But yeah, this was happening while they were going on stage to promote their album. But you had 1, 2, 3, 4 songs that were Just the Way You Are was number 3. Moving Out was 17. Only the Good Die Young was 24. She's Always a Woman. But every song, I mean, that doesn't even include Vienna. Vienna's on here, is amazing.
A lot of people love Vienna.
The scenes from the Italian restaurant
A lot of people love that song.
was based on the restaurant across the street from Carnegie Hall. Every Italian restaurant in New York claims it's them. But some of it might, pieces of it probably are, but it was the restaurant that's no longer there across from the street from Carnegie Hall.
Yeah, it's our restaurant.
And also, people thought that he's Italian because of the songs on this album. He's like,
He's
I
German.
He's like, I never said I was Italian. And of course, again, there's a song on here, and he gets banned. Seton Hall is the first one to ban him for Which one is it?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say what song was it, but I do. Yeah,
Catholic, the Catholic girls start
Catholic
much
Girls
too
Start
late.
Much Too Late. So
Yeah.
he gets banned in Seton Hall and some other venues. What happens?
Everybody wants to hear it.
Everyone wants to hear it.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's no skip. There's definitely no skip. I listened to it 3 times today. Matter of fact. I mean, I think Moving Out, The Stranger, Just the Way You Are, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, and that was kind of 3 songs that he had that couldn't put them together, and he decided to put them together, much like the Beatles' Abbey Road, and that's kind of where he kind of got the idea.
McCartney did that like 25 times. Put songs
That is correct, Jeremy.
different songs together.
But Abbey Road,
Just
and he
like
kind of tied them
me.
together, and you got Scenes from an Italian Restaurant.
I didn't know
Vienna.
Billy Joel was a German Jew like myself.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
His father, I mean, his father came over. If anyone here has not seen the HBO Max documentary on Billy Joel, you have to watch it. It's an
That's
amazing
great.
watch. And the great thing about it is, like, it's no holds barred. Like, everybody really got to be able to just speak freely, about their experiences with, being involved with Billy Joel, whether band member, ex-wives, what have you. Like, you really get to know about the man, what he went through. He didn't have a great childhood. I mean, he had a mother that loved him. His dad left when he was 8, went back. He never really had a relationship with his dad. But, it's amazing. I guess we kind of talked about this earlier, how when Stacey was talking about Third Eye Blind, how, these songs are great and they sound, happy, but when you really listen to the lyrics, it's, the pain, right, that you feel. And I think that's just what makes amazing artists, is the common denominator in so many. It's always pain, right?
Jake, people are saying a no skip album. We agreed, but I remember like the same day we talked about Garth Brooks, and it took us like 10 seconds to decide which Garth Brooks album. We talked about Billy Joel, and I think we talked for a half an hour, and we went round and round because Billy Joel's got a lot of great albums, and we're like, I think what sells this one is you got a big hit, kind of ballady song. You got some traditional songs, Only the Good Die Young and Moving Out, the kind of Billy Joel sound. But it's really the strength of the album cuts. So many fans of Vienna and Scenes from Italian Restaurant, and just like, okay, this is a complete album. It's not my favorite Billy Joel, but I think if you were going to get somebody started on Billy Joel, this would be the album to give them.
Yeah. So like when we were talking about, what's the album, somebody gets into an artist, what's that one record? And we talked about Pink Floyd, and I was like, it for me, it's Wish You Were Here. It's like with Billy Joel, do you start with A Stranger? Look at Liberty. Look at Liberty up top.
Yeah.
And Phil Ramone.
I think The Stranger is a good start. I think you and I both, Scott, love Glass Houses.
Yeah, I do. But that's more of a poppy rock album.
But 52nd Street, look, and if you go back to Street Life Serenade and some, and Piano Man and some of the early, like, there are hits.
Skip all the early ones, Jake. Just buy Songs from the Attic. They're much better versions of Song in the Attic of all that early stuff. That is a killer album. That's a live one, so it won't be on the 500, but it might show up on the live album.
On the live comps.
And the cool thing with this is once you got this, you went back to his other albums.
Yes.
And went back and got his collection.
Yeah.
Where before, people just let it play on the radio. His previous studio albums were, I'm going to hear it on the radio and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
They went out and bought this one.
It's probably the first one that was really recorded really well. Because
Billy Joel produced Street Life. He produced it himself. He didn't know what the hell he was doing.
He didn't really know what he was doing.
Yeah.
But Phil Ramone was a perfect mix, and having the band, his band playing there as a cohesive unit, just makes it.
I honestly think Billy Joel getting the band, Liberty and Company, getting the guys that he had, and having, what I really think Billy Joel needed? He needed a damn family. He needed a unit. And when he got the band and got those guys, dude, it clicked.
And like I said, Billy Joel would be soft without Liberty DeVito.
I agree with that.
That is a rock and roll band drummer right there. Big time sound.
Oh, yeah.
Big fan of Street Life, yeah.
All right, so we've done the albums, guys. And again, someone asked if we're gonna have a list that keeps building that shows all of them, and we will work on that probably on the Discord or something like that. We'll have the running list as we go. I think we'll try to make sure we get that out there for you guys.
Yeah,
So
we'll put it
join
on
us in the
Discord, and maybe we'll populate it in the show notes for the upcoming show and say, here's what we got so far. Because I know not everybody's seen every episode, maybe.
So Scott had a challenge. Jake challenges him every week with a top 5 of something, and this week
I'm here to
Yeah.
stump the man.
top 5 Dylan albums, which I would say this is what I would say I would do is just do this, and you don't have to make a choice.
Yeah, that's a good one. I have that on cassette. And
So
I
we
have
had
that
to
too,
listen to
Sean.
Dylan albums, and we'll see.
well,
I wanted to look. I'm going on the record here right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And there are people in this chat that agree with me right now. Van Halen top 5
was spot on. I
massacred.
agree. Spot on.
got massacred. Neil Young top 5. Yay. Better. Yeah. So I finally was like, I'm stumping you. Bob Dylan, I want top 5. I'm going to make it difficult. And now I'm anxious. Now I want to know how bad he messes this up. I can't wait to see the chat just get on him.
Well, and I might deserve it because I got to say, unlike Van Halen or Neil Young, where I have a deep knowledge of those artists, Bob Dylan, I'm a comp guy. Like that's all I have the CDs, but honestly, I've never played. I have learned a lot more about Bob Dylan selling on Whatnot because, you got to clean the record and you got to play test the record. So that's where I'm starting, to get into it a little more because I usually always listen to one side. And if it's good, I'll flip it over and listen to the other side. So I do have a better appreciation for Bob. In general, I don't like his voice, but it's not as bad as Tom Waits or Leonard Cohen. And they are great artists.
There you go, brother. I agree with you there.
So, we had to take a break because I was going out of town, and I'm glad we did. It gave me 2 weeks I had to listen to a lot of albums, and they were like, for me, some of them were like first time I've listened to the whole album. I knew the singles, I didn't know the rest of it, so it was very tough to do this. And I think I talked to Jake last week, and I gave him a couple tidbits, and then I think this week I kind of changed it. I had a plan of we were driving to Columbus for a wedding. We had 6 hours, and I thought I'm just gonna listen to Bob Dylan the whole way. We listened to one Bob Dylan album, and my wife didn't say a word, but I looked at it, I said, "This ain't gonna work." Bob had to go, so we had to listen to something else. She didn't, to her credit, she didn't say a word, but yeah, it's she's not a Dylan fan per se. So although we both went to see the movie and we liked the movie just fine. So I'm going to debut this, and honestly, if you gave me another week, it might be a slightly different order. I have some definitive things, things like I made up my mind about this. There is one Bob Dylan album I think is not good that most people think is good, and I have a reason for it not being good. Outside of that, I flip-flopped a lot of this.
Do you want to start? Do you want to start with honorable mention, or are you just going into top 5 and then honorable mention after?
Well, because I don't have all the albums, I did actually a PowerPoint, and it starts at 5 and honorable mentions last.
All right, cool. Let's roll with that.
And here we go. So let me pull up. And Sean, if you can move the boxes around to make it look best.
Jake is so excited for this.
Get ready to get annihilated.
He's so excited for this.
Yeah, whatever one you think's best, Sean, of the view. All right, number 5. Bringing it all back home. I like this album a lot. Subterranean, Homesick Blues, Maggie's Farm is my jam. I picked that up really from the movie. I really liked that song in the movie, and I've been listening to it. It's got Mr. Tambourine Man on it. The Byrds would have a big hit with that later. And so many of the Dylan songs. That's why I will always concede Bob Dylan songwriting. Like he's a top 5 songwriter in the history of music. He's great. Just sometimes his delivery, his vocal, I don't like. Sometimes it's too sparse for me. I like production. I like a interesting sound, and so I'm not a big fan of a lot of the folk albums, but this one I like. I like this album. So that's number 5. Number 4, Desire. I like this album. I like the
Mozambique
sound.
on it.
It's got
Huh?
Hurricane on it as well.
Hurricane 8 minutes, and like I think he has it's like a 10,000 word essay in that song. It has so many lyrics.
It does.
It tells the whole story in the song, great song. I like the production on it. It's it's electric, obviously. After he went electric, this is might be one of his more rock sounding albums, but still little elements there of some folk in there. And I don't have a lot more to say other than I probably listen to every one of these albums probably 3 times, and I made notes and put them in order. So I think this one's sticking around. And these are my personal. I liked this album a lot.
Yeah, this one has that Mozambique with Emmylou Harris.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah. Thank you.
She
He had some good. Yeah.
When she went to sing this, she didn't even have the lyrics in writing. She had to kind of like follow him in the song. She wasn't given here's the lyrics. She was here you go.
Yeah,
we got to give kudos to Emmylou.
Bob Dylan was punk rock before punk rock, man.
And Buffett sings this song with Emmylou in his last album too.
Yeah, I mean she's the female Michael McDonald.
Yeah, she is. She's on everything.
Sounds great. You recognize her voice as soon as you hear her singing. Okay, so let's go. Next is Oh Mercy.
What are we doing?
What we're doing is we're recognizing this is, given another couple weeks, this might move up to my top Dylan album.
What are we doing?
We're doing the right thing, Jake. This is produced by Daniel Lanois, recorded down in Louisiana at his studio down there. He's a Canadian, but Daniel of U2, a prominent producer. He also produced one of my other favorite albums, which is Willie Nelson Tetro, and I like him as a producer. The sound on this is fantastic. The songs are strong. This was kind of a comeback album in the 80s for. He had some weak albums in the 80s, and this is dynamite. By far, when I did the listens, this was the one that I enjoyed the most, made me perk up. So number 3, Oh Mercy. Number 2, Free Will and Bob Dylan. Now Jake heard an earlier version of the list, and he was just hammering me on Free Willin'. So he really scared the crap out of me. So I better go back and listen. And I did, and to his credit, he was right about this album. The more I listened to it, the more I said, this is good stuff. Because I was trying to have some folk. I was trying to have a little bit of like represent like Dylan's full career, at least up to the 80s. But I like Free Willin' a lot. Number 1, Highway 61 Revisited.
I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm going to argue that. I think for
2.
me it's a crapshoot between
number
both.
2. I'm sorry, it's number 2, Jake.
It's number 2.
My window is not showing. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it is really good. The first 6 songs on it, I liked them. So this got like 4 or 5 listens, and I was like, yeah, it's. Sorry, folks. Let's go. No, that was just numbered wrong, Sean. So here's the honorable mention.
Okay. There we go.
Honorable mention: Nashville Skyline, which earlier I had Nashville Skyline in there because it's the only song, it's the only album where he sings like a normal person.
He's got Johnny Cash on it.
He does. Listen to Lay Lay, or I actually think he's doing some kind of gimmick to sound like that, because I was like, well, if he could sing like that, why didn't he sing like that all the time instead
He's
of like
punk rock, man.
I like his
sings
quirky
however he
voice.
wants.
I love his little quirky, strange voice, but I also love Dave Matthews, and he has a quirky, strange voice.
Yeah, I like Dave Matthews.
I agree. I mean, that if you really go and you listen to a lot of Dylan's works, right from his folk to where he goes electric to Nashville Skyline to when he goes into the 70s, you notice there's one thing that you notice.
Yeah.
The vocals change. The way he sings changes. He's punk rock. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care what people think, how he sounds when he sings. I've always told people that he is the godfather of punk.
Yeah.
Because of that, because he thought outside the box. He was doing stuff that nobody else was doing, couldn't give rhyme or reason, couldn't care, wasn't going to be, put in a corner as a protest songwriter. Like, he would come out and joke and just say, yeah, all my songs are protest songs. He would just, he didn't care. So you had 61. It looked like the numbers were wrong. So Highway 61 Revisited was number 1, correct?
Yes, it was number 1. Yeah.
Okay. So I would say this is, besides Oh Mercy, your 1 and 2 are spot on. I would say I personally could go between both of those. Free Willin' probably would be my number 1. Revisited would probably be number 2, but I could easily see why it would be number 1 because that's really the shift, and it is a great album.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you gave me another couple weeks, I might flip those around. I think they're almost on par with each other, and I would just say anybody that's not listened to Oh Mercy, wow, what a great sounding album, and it's got strong songs. He did 2 with Lanois, and Time Out of Mind was the second one. The songs just aren't as strong on that one as Oh Mercy, and I never really hear people talking about Oh Mercy, and I might be a little prejudiced because I love Lanois' production style. Like he always makes it sound like you're recording in a big room, and I like that style of music. Now, an album that did not make it, it was in the top 10, and so you saw I only have 9, and I just dropped it out. No, Planet Waves was in the bigger, and I dropped it earlier. John Wesley Harding. That album sounds terrible. Like, it's the worst production. Like, there is some all along the Watchtowers on that album, and one of the greatest written songs ever. But I do suggest Hendrix's version over Dylan's. What else is on here? Another pretty big one. But I couldn't get past. I couldn't get past the fact it sounded so bad. It sounded terrible. Like, I could have recorded it that good, and I don't know anything about how to record.
Did you listen to Shot of Love? Did you listen to Oh Mercy?
Oh Mercy's in my top 5.
Or not? Sorry, not Oh Mercy. Infidels.
I did listen to Infidel, Street Legal. What was the other one you said?
Shot of Love.
Yeah. Yeah, I listened to that. That was on there was 15 that got put into the, because I talked to you and we went through, I made notes. So, I'm not as confident on this because I feel like 4 or 5 listens to an album is not enough to really make any kind of critical review of an album. Yeah, I mean, I know the singles very well. Yes. Sean has that for sale if anybody's looking for it. So.
I've got one too. Well, you know why Free Willing was so important to me. But you did have a valid point. A lot of why I had Free Willing Bob Dylan as number 1 is not only do I think, because I love his folk stuff. I love his self-titled stuff, a lot of covers, and but Free Willin' was really him coming in and doing a lot of his own stuff, right? His own material. Yeah. But that album changed the music industry overnight. Any artist that listened to that album and listened to how it was written, everybody changed the way they wrote music after that album. The Beatles were heavily influenced by that record. There were so many artists that changed their entire way of, I think, lyrically, musically. I guess I put it as number 1 for me. It's a great record, but I think just from an iconic standpoint and what it's done to music, I probably am one of those that would say Free Willin's probably on the list of greatest albums of all time. not just listening to the album, just the music itself, but I think how influential it was.
Yeah, and a lot of people probably criticize for not putting Blonde on Blonde on there, but the
It's a great
problem with
album.
Blonde, yeah, it is. I mean, it sounds good. It's got a good sound to it. But when you don't like the two singles off a record, I don't like Rainy Day Woman, and I don't like Just Like a Woman. Not.
I want you to listen to Jeff Buckley's cover of Just Like a Woman. And you listen
Well-
to that, you probably won't listen to the Bob Dylan original ever again.
Like about 17 other songs that Bob Dylan wrote.
Sure.
I mean,
And
which
he
album
was an
has
amazing songwriter. I mean, he wrote my wedding song, and I know it was Stacey's wedding song that he
Everything's
wrote.
Broken?
You make me feel to make me feel my love.
I would not suggest it in my situation. It was not lucky for me.
You know what my wedding song was?
The chicken dance.
Close. That was a close second. That was number 2. The Cure's Love Song, but
That's a good song.
Adele's version of Love Song,
Nice.
Mine was Adele's version as well.
which is unbelievable. If you have not heard Adele's version of Love Song, it is.
What the hell's wrong with the Cure's version?
Cure's version is great. I love it. But Adele's version, man, it's got soul, it's got heart, it's got love, it's got feel.
I'm gonna have to listen to it, but I believe that's a party foul. I mean, come
You could
on.
dance
The
to that.
Cure?
Like if you listen to the Cure Love Song, like I don't know what kind of dance would come out of me listening to the Cure's version.
It'd be a gothy dance.
It would be a very weird gothy dance. This one you could slow dance. Great makeout song. I mean, you could roller skate to it, Scott.
Her covers, I think you're right, Jake. Like when Adele does a cover of a love song like that, it just feels more intense. You get
Yes.
goosebumps and chills, and you feel in the moment when she's singing it because she
You look
sings
at
so
yeah,
big.
you just look at a stranger and you're like, look, I don't know who you are, but this
Yep.
song is doing things. Let's go roller skate, damn it.
Well, so like you're not going to hurt my feelings. I really took this seriously. I tried to do the best I could because I don't want to do any artist disservice, and it's the only time in the reviews I listen to Jake a little bit about some input. Usually I just ignore him. But I was like, okay, if he feels that passionately about it, I need to go back. And it did affect. I mean, we have a lot of fun with these because I don't ever tell him what the 5 are, and I just tell him, I give him tidbits. Some of them are correct, some of them are incorrect, just to lead him astray.
So do
So
we
it's a
have
lot
a
of fun.
challenge? Is there a new challenge now? We have a new one?
We talked about it. I think the next top 5 is going to be top 5 Rolling Stones records.
Yes.
Cool.
I could do
And
that
Scott,
today.
here's
probably.
the thing, Scott. Like I told him, I'm like, Scott, I'm going to go easy on you next week because Scott loves the Stones. And
Yeah.
we talked a little bit about this, and I'm probably going to be in more agreement with Scott on his top 5 on this because my era basically
shall
is from
see.
69 to 78.
Mhm.
I love the 70s. I love the 70s Stones.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
I'm anxious to see what he chooses.
yeah, and I think I could bring a lot more with the Dylan. It was more just observational listening, and
Oh, we have a challenge to
Get
the
in there,
Stones
Tree.
are overrated. So
Get
Tree,
in
how do
there,
you feel
Tree.
about- So
The
this
Stones
is
are
where we get. Now
overrated.
we're back into. This is where we get the Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. And
Well, while they're typing, Sean, I will say this. I'm going to say, the Beatles, Scott and I did talk about this. People always have this argument, Beatles or Stones. I'm a Beatles guy, first and foremost. Always have, always will be. But here's the thing that Scott and I agreed on. You can't compare the two bands because they are not the same band.
No.
There's no competition between the two. So when people ask me, Beatles or Stones, I say, can't compare them. They're two different bands. I like both, but I love the Beatles.
they're in different subgenres.
They are.
And they're the best at. Despite what Tree says, they're the best at theirs. Both of them are the best at their subgenres.
I partially agree with Tree only because I feel like the Stones hits are the best work they had versus other artists who have, like the Beatles, if we're going to compare, have songs that were not their hits that are very good and could be possibly better. I don't
That's why I
think that
love you,
they're
Stacey.
I
That's
don't
why
think
I
that
love
they're
you.
overrated, but I think that their music that are not hits is not as good as their music that was hits. And maybe I just
Adam,
need to
number
listen more,
one
but
was Highway 61 Revisited. Number two was Freewheeling, which I could go both ways. I actually like Scott's 1 and 2. The one I went nuts on was Oh Mercy at number 3.
That's a great album. Got to give it another listen. Maybe if you listen more, maybe you'll hear what I heard. A great.
One
sounding
other note
album.
with the Dylan, I think we're gonna try to talk, maybe we'll do a little RSD next week, but Free Willin' is getting an RSD release with the deleted
right.
tracks.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So I just wanted to add that into that.
That's
mix.
probably the only record I'm going for if I can get it.
Yeah.
I tried
So we'll talk more about RSD next week when we have. I want you guys, the viewers, to also check out the list and you tell us what you're interested in. We'll talk about that next week because we are, we're getting closer to the 2 hours, so we want to.
I'm skipping this year.
You skipping?
There's
You
nothing,
go, girl.
There's nothing on there that I need to go to the store and wait for. I will go in the morning after everyone's left, 2 hours, and see if there's anything I want, but there's nothing to wait for. I am
Stace,
not waiting 12 hours for Wicked again.
Yeah, Stace, I'm right there with you. That's kind of been me the last few years where I'm just like, look, hey, I'm not going to go wait in line. I'm too old.
There's just nothing for me that great for this list.
It was the weakest list they've had in a while.
Yes.
I looked at it
Yes.
too and said, "There's nothing I need to go
Yeah.
stand outside in the cold." And
No, I'll go
Yeah.
when it's less busy and see what's left. If there's something I
I think
might
there'll be a
want,
lot
but
left. They just don't have the titles that are going to draw people in.
No.
Okay, Beatles, Stones. What about the Kinks? I tell you what, I might.
Scott likes the Kinks.
I love the Kinks. I love 70s, 80s arena rock Kinks the most, and I could. A lot of people like the art house Kinks
Linda
of the
Ronstadt
70s
is
or
me.
60s. So, yeah, there'll probably be some Kinks content, even if I have to do my own video. But I tried to get Jake. I said, Jake, you gotta take it easy on me, man. Bob Dylan was brutal. I suggested The Firm, and he said, didn't they only have 2 albums? I was like, yeah, it'd be easy. Get a top 5 out of 2 albums. So.
It's great. I have those records. I mean, you definitely can hear Jimmy Page on them, but that's about like all you can hear.
Production on both of them is horrible.
Yeah, it's
horrible.
Yeah.
All right.
What else? Anything else you guys want to talk about? Any questions from the audience?
We got 11 people in here.
Any questions? Hey, how about this? Chat, anybody have any questions for Stacey?
Yeah.
There you go. Yes. Because you
And
can
I
ask us next week.
Because listen, she's an open book. All right.
Well, while we're waiting on that question, because there's a little delay by the time you guys type it and we see it, but I do want to thank Stacey for joining us. And
thank you.
As soon as we felt like we could not resist Taylor Swift anymore, we knew we didn't want to have any part of picking that record. So I was like, who's the fall guy we can get to take that heat?
Tree's question is, what was your favorite movie with Mick Jagger? Well, what was the damn piece of crap with Emilio Estevez and Rene Russo? Because he was horrible.
I am too young to answer that question.
Horrible. Hijack, I think, was the name. Something like that. Hijack. What was the name? Free Jack. What was the name of the movie? It's something like that.
All right.
We do plan on doing a soundtrack show. Much like we're doing the 500, we're gonna probably do a smaller soundtrack at some point. We'll be covering that.
Let me see, Tree. I'm gonna check on this because I am a movie nut, right? Being a former actor, I should know this.
You should. My favorite song on the new album, there's like a tie for top, and it's probably going to be Canceled, Actually Romantic, and The Fate of Ophelia. I can't pick one. I picked 3. I'm sorry.
Didn't you say 2?
Another week,
and then
I'll
you
pick
did 3?
Yeah, I know. I can't. There's too many good ones. I need another week to listen to it. Like
That's fair. That's fair.
I listened to it. We did a listening party on Whatnot, and it was so funny because we were on mute. You couldn't hear anything we were saying. All you could hear was the music. And I'm just like writing and writing in the chat. They're like, she's just writing these notes. And I'm like, yeah, I write notes for every album release I listen to because I like to revisit it in a month and see my ratings and my notes and see how my likes have changed. And then I try to revisit it a year later as well.
So I like Terry's question. Tough question, but if asked, what's y'all's favorite rock song off the top of your head? I like that. I like it.
I have mine.
Let's hear it.
Fleetwood Mac, Go Your Own Way. The emotional content of that. I mean, it isn't fair. Lindsay's not completely fair to Stevie, but it's rawness, right? Of what he's feeling. And the fact that he had like 18 layers of guitar on that. And if you listen to the isolated bass and drums, every time that song comes on, I have to turn it up and sing along. Beautiful song. Favorite.
Stacey, I want to hear it. I know it's Tay-Tay.
Well, it can't be. Well, I mean, I do think she has some rock songs, but people would beg to differ. Favorite rock song off the top of my head, I'm gonna say Baba O'Reilly because that is one of my favorite songs from classic rock genre. It is my hype song. I hear that keyboard and I just want to get up and jump around, dance. So like that is my hype song and has been since I've been about 20.
Oh, we could have Stacey back.
Just headbang and look like Bjorn Borg with the headband and dry just lock.
Well, the first thing that came to my head was Golden Earrings, Radar Love. I don't know why, but
good song.
That one or Band on the Run would also be.
That's a good one too, but that's not one. That's two. So.
I know. That's why I said.
It's about choices. Yeah.
You want mine? I'm gonna give it to you.
If it's Oasis, you're fired.
Okay. It is Oasis. Slide away.
There's so many genres of rock. You kind of have to be more specific. What's your favorite hard rock song? What's your favorite pop rock song? There's so many genres, subgenres of rock. I think it's really hard to pick one song.
All right, so the chat's got some stuff going. Tom Petty, American Girl. That's a good song. Wish You Were Here.
I like that tree.
Wish You Were Here. Great. Deep Purple, Perfect Strangers. That is a killer song that maybe a lot of people don't know about, but anytime you take the bow to a guitar, that's pretty cool. Homage to Mr. Page.
It is a tough one, but I like the question because it's just an immediate, like, all right, top of your head right now, what's the song? I mean, as soon as he asked that, I knew. It's like,
because tomorrow someone asked me that, it might be a different song.
Yeah.
Tomorrow
changed mine in a long time.
Tomorrow, it could be Friends of P from the Rentals, Return of the Rentals.
We knew that was coming at some point.
I'm allowed to say no. I get to say no. No rentals.
Yay! You've been
unbelievable.
So we're going to
initiated.
Free bird.
We're going to upgrade her from guest panelist to reoccurring guest panelist. That the fact that she agrees that
you can
album,
pick a Beatles song. Certainly, A Day in the Life would be a great one.
Yeah, my wife's been stuck on the Beatles channel on her Sirius.
Dude, that's why your wife and I are besties, because when I'm in my car, that's all that plays. It is Sirius Beatles. It's the Beatles channel, all day, every day, all the time. Can't get
so
enough.
Now in my mind,
13 tomorrow.
Changes by Bowie. Tomorrow I'd probably say Changes.
Yeah, Bowie's really good.
I think it also will depend on your mood, what kind of day you have.
Moon Age Daydream, great song. That's just because mixed.
That is amazing.
Who said that? I didn't see that. You said that, Jake?
Yeah, Moon Age Daydream.
Yeah.
I just love the Mick Ronson era, right? I mean, he brought something, to the table.
Bowie was special when Ronson was with him.
That's my favorite Bowie era. I don't,
sound of music.
I'm going to change my answer. Money for Nothing, Dire Straits.
Money for Nothing?
Money for nothing and you'll take for free.
Well, everybody's got there. I don't even think that's the best song on that album.
It's not, but I used to listen to that album with my dad when I was little, and that song specifically. So that's why.
Hey, I like this because we're killing time. We got 7 minutes, right? So I'm going to say, if we're talking Dire Straits songs, I'm going to go Six Blade Knife.
What? That's an interesting choice. It's a
I
good
love
song.
Six
But
Blade. I love the bass riff. It's chill. It's kind of mean. It's mysterious. It's just got, I like it.
My favorite Dire Straits is Tunnel of Love.
Horrible song.
It's a great song.
Better than the Rentals.
Or Rentals Blow.
I just had to say it because Scott and I get into some good ones. Horrible pitch. Absolute horrible.
Walk of Life. Yeah, we talked about and that's a good point. Let's explain. Like we have been remiss in publishing these lists, so we will do it on Discord. We'll do it in show notes. So when you come for the next episode, we'll list out how many have we done now? 48 albums in the 500. We'll list those out. I'll make sure we got the rankings posted somewhere. Discord. That would be good fodder for Discord conversations for people that didn't make it. So
Also, if there's something you think should be on the list, let us know. We'll give it a listen. I mean, it may already be on the list, but maybe it's something we don't know. We don't know everything, and maybe there's an album that you feel should be on the list.
Absolutely, guys.
Let us
Remember,
know.
I'm the dumbest panelist on this show. Right? So I love it when the chat's engaged and chit chat. See, y'all pick up the slack when you're in here talking. I love it when a chat's engaged.
Well, your opinion's only bound by what you know, right? And I do have a little bit of advantage on you guys. I am 60 years old, been seriously into music probably since I was 8 or 9. So I have a lot of years of exposure and listening, and I would rather listen to music than watch TV or watch a movie. And so, but I there's no way that somebody can say anything definitive about music, because as much of my life I've spent listening to it, I feel like I just scratched the surface on a lot of it. So I like it when people give me recommendations of stuff to try out. Echo and the Bunnymen's been something that I came to the past year because of Whatnot and my customers actually wanting the records. And then I got the records in, I listened to them. I said, oh, these guys are pretty badass. So
Scott, I'd like to quote a line from Billy Madison, and that is, I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Lonnie Mac.
Listen to Lonnie Mac.
I haven't listened to Lonnie Mac.
Nick Drake, Pink Moon. Gerald, we are bros. Oh, life.
Can I mention something while Stacey's here today too?
No.
Is the fact that the number one selling movie in the top box office movie last week was Taylor Swift with $33 million.
33.3 million. Next in
And
line
what
was
was the next one was like 6 million or something?
11. But she's
11?
the first person
Crazy.
since 1980 to have a number one album, number one movie, and I can't remember the third thing right now, but the first person since Prince to have all three at one time.
But is it really a movie? Is it like a documentary?
Yeah,
what
it
was
wasn't a movie, but it was still a release in a theater. So any release in a theater would count.
Nothing beats Prince storming into his dad's house, ticked off, ready to, get in a fight with his old man. Seeing Prince angry?
But believing Prince
That's music
as a tough guy, I couldn't swallow that.
But also, this was only released.
He was ready to go.
This was released for 3 days. You couldn't see it after 3 days. You cannot go. You're not going to go back to the theater and see it a bunch of times. But yeah, it was a huge thing. I think that it was great what she did. It wasn't the price of a regular movie ticket. It was cheaper. And it really helped me appreciate the album and the songs, to hear her talk about them, the insight on it, kind of explain where she came from, that sort of stuff. It really kind of helped me like the album more than I did just the day before. Yeah.
Well, I did want to say I started to talk about Stacey, and like I said, I do thank her for coming down here. And one of the things that we really had as kind of like a foundational element of the YouTube channel was to try to bring and expand upon the community we have in Whatnot, especially amongst the sellers and a lot of the buyers. They show up in everybody's show, and we certainly make friends, and Stacey's always been helping with the raid train. Oh, she's always willing to help you with whatever technology.
Yeah, Stacey's always been great, man. She's always been a
Thank
rock
you.
star.
And there's a lot of people that make the community be as vibrant as it is. So it was a real pleasure to have her as a first guest panelist, and we're going to have a lot more. We got to get people lined up. So far, I have a commitment from a buyer, not a seller, around December. So we'll be filling these in, and we had talked, and I think what we're going to do, let's say conceptually we do 4 shows a month. We're going to make 3 shows be top 500, and then we're going to pause it, and then we're going to do live soundtracks. We're going to do other stuff on a show. Start building those lists out a little bit.
I like it.
So if you have a keen knowledge of a subject and you want to get be a guest panelist, let us know. We'll talk to you and see. I mean, we took Jake. We'll take anybody.
I can go ahead and take credit for the live and compilation soundtracks. I think I'm gonna take credit on that one.
Oh yeah, you got credit. It was $1.25. We gave you credit.
That's a dual of 25. I'll take that all day.
Yeah, go ahead, Stacey.
I was just gonna say before we end, I want to thank you guys for having me on here. I was very flattered to be asked to be your first guest and to talk about Taylor, especially because resident whatnot Swiftie. So I just really appreciate you guys letting me come on and make my own choices and then get to present them. I gave a list of 5 and I got 3 back that we wanted to do, and that was really nice that you guys kind of just looked at what I said and really appreciated it for what it was, even if it's not something that you really like.
No, that
Stacey, I think you need to give yourself more credit, sister, because I think you are a plethora of musical knowledge.
Thank you.
I really do. And I mean, take it from 2 bald men and 1 man that's just got hair everywhere. We adore you, and we think the world of you, and loved having you on. I'd love to have you on again.
Thank you. I would be happy to.
Anytime we have to do Taylor, none of us are willing to take any heat for saying anything about Taylor Swift.
Okay.
So,
no, Stacey will kick my ass if I go.
And I will say negative things about certain albums or certain songs too. Like I don't love them all.
Well, there's some stuff out there that we need some help on to make sure the 500's representative. Like we need some help on some rap stuff. We know it, but we don't know it the way we know some of the other genres, and even jazz. I have jazz records, but I would not want to talk about jazz. So, there's good opportunities for people to talk about things they're really passionate about. And I will say, as far as your list goes, it was easy to prove that Third Eye Blind was already on the list to be talked about.
It was.
Sure.
Yeah, man. When you told me that, that she was presenting that, it was just like, yes. That might be one of the all times.
The 90s,
definitely one of the best albums of the 90s for sure.
The 90s albums tonight were really solid.
They were good.
Dizzy Up the Girl.
What's the story, Morning Glory? Let's just go ahead and get it in there, Scott.
It's a great album. I
want to hear you say the title and the band name right now.
What's the story, Morning Glory? Those dudes from UK that fight all the time with each other. Oasis.
There you go.
Just see, all out. I could have just said, "What's the bar" in the Garth Brooks song? Oasis.
Oasis.
Yeah. I give you a hard time, Jake, but I have Oasis. I have that album, and I have Oasis Time Flies.
You got to get hands behind the back and just in the mic like that.
Yeah.
I'm channeling my inner Liam.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That kind of does. Unless there's anything else you want to say, this is kind of the end here. I do want to apologize, like I did the first week, to Travis and Taylor. Stacey took up all their time. We don't have time to fit you in. It's Stacey's fault.
It's my fault this time, but
it's your fault.
Have their people talk to my people and I'll fix it.
All right.
Yeah. I think everybody had a little challenge too, so I appreciate I got COVID. Stacey had childcare issues. Jake, he's just got issues anyway.
Jake is just Jake.
And Sean had a new computer, so everybody had a little challenge for the episode. Appreciate everyone hanging in there.
Yeah,
so our next show,
guys.
Next week, we are doing one next week.
I can't wait to see what records I get to listen to. because it was fun. It was a lot of fun this week listening to the records that I had, and I want to sneak into looking at your list, and I didn't.
So
to listen.
I have already got I think this is perfect segue into what we're going to be doing in the near future. Those of you who don't know, we've been talking about it. I'm going to go ahead and announce it. This just in. Sean, aka Shark Crossing Vinyl, will be doing his top 5 Mitch Miller albums.
The ratings will be off the chart for that one.
Start top
It
5
sounds
Mitch Miller, Sean.
Riveting.
Well, that would be not fun.
No, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of singing.
No.
All right.
Lots of singing. Lots of rejoicing. Lots of happiness.
Also, guys, if you are the QR code does not work, but help a man out.
Yeah, if you got dumb money,
If you're really into Led Zeppelin, talk to Jake.
It is a grail of all grails. It's very pricey, but it is for sale. And I
Where
will
does the
work with
QR
somebody.
code go?
That's just a generic one they already had there.
Oh, I was like, because somebody scanned it.
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, we should do what's coming up. Like we all have shows. We're what not sellers. We have
Gerald
coming up.
Mine is not reversed. If you see here, the T and the S are
we'll work
facing
on that
the right
next week to make
direction.
sure that
Thank
we're
you.
not backwards. Me and Scott were backwards, so the
Correct.
images were reversed.
Believe it or not, I
Gonzo
didn't
had it
mess
right.
up.
Imagine that.
I actually had it right.
Dumb luck.
Completely
Dumb.
accidental. There's no
Yes,
way he
dumb
did it
luck.
on purpose.
All right.
But we'll work on the angles. I did write that down in my notes for the show.
And thank you, chat. We should say that.
Thank you guys for
Love
hanging
y'all,
out
man.
and interacting.
We love having y'all interact. We love having y'all hang out, with us and whatnot shows. Y'all are the reason why, we do what we do. You're the reason why the shows are fun. And again, a lot of you are the reason why, a lot of us have been able to cross each other's paths and do this show, which is why we really wanted to have y'all included and come in and just communicate and not have to worry about the stress of trying to get a bid in and get a record. We can just sit and talk about the things that we love and we're passionate about.
Music. Yes. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see everyone next week, 8 p.m.
Thanks,
Eastern
guys.
Standard Time.
Bye, guys.